Welcome to week 4. You guys are looking at a broken man. A man that has started 0-3 for the first time in his fantasy football career in this league. I've never started 0-3 in a money league, so this is tough. It's a hard pill to swallow. And I was taking a look. Besides COVID year, I'm going to talk about me because this is my podcast and I can. Besides COVID year, which didn't count Eric, besides COVID year, I have never placed on the outside of third place. I've either been second or third place every single year besides COVID year, which doesn't count Eric. So this is a hard start to the season, very hard start to the season. But you know what? That's okay. It's not over. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to start by beating Austin this next week. And I'm going to start going on a winning streak. I'm going to get Cooper Kupp back. I'm going to start setting my lineups a little bit smarter. We got D Swift that's proven that he can be the number one. So I'm pretty excited about that, even with Gainwell coming back. So super excited. Also, don't know what to do with my hands. But we're going to go over some stuff in week 3. We'll go biggest losers, biggest winners. We'll do our power rankings. But I'd like to do two podcasts this week. So we're going to start with this podcast, and then we're going to move forward, and we're going to do a second podcast a little bit later in the week. But this week's pretty much sealed, signed, delivered. Everything's pretty much set in stone. We've got our records. I've made my power rankings. We're sticking to them. So here we go. We're going to dive right into it. Biggest winner, obviously, Mr. Organic. Holy shit. I think your team outproduced my Superflex PPR team, who is going to start 3-0. Holy shit. I think you're now over 170 points. We still have the game going on. Got that going on in the background. I'm going to try to wrap this up before that game ends so I can watch that. But I did a little experiment here. I looked at if you put a team together, Patrick Mahomes is quarterback, Christian McCaffrey is a running back, Christian McCaffrey as a second running back. If you just duplicated his numbers from week 3, Justin Jefferson as the wide receiver, another Justin Jefferson as wide receiver, Travis Kelce for the tight end, and then you put Keenan Allen, because he went off this week, as your flex spot, Justin Tucker, the best kicker in the league, and then just a default defense, 10 points. They didn't allow any scores. They didn't do any sacks. They didn't do any interceptions, but they allowed no score, default 10 points. That team scores 160.64 points. Dre beats that team by more than 10. How insane is that? Like, that's crazy to wrap my head around. So absolutely crazy. Good job. I hate to say when I'm right in this aspect because I had you at number 1 and look at your fucking team now. Wow. So hard to be right in that aspect, but you know, when I'm right, I'm right. So I'm right more than I'm wrong. Besides when it comes to my team. So yeah. So biggest winner, obviously, Mr. Organic. Biggest loser, me. I don't think I've sniffed 90 points this year. So that's pretty tough to swallow. That's a tough pill to swallow. So, but we're gonna turn around. Like I said, we're turning this ship around. We're, starting off a little slow, but we're gonna end hot. And top 6 teams make playoffs. So definitely don't have the biggest ambition to be number 1 going into playoffs, but you know what? I'm planning on making playoffs. I've never missed playoffs. So knock on wood. So let's hope it stays that way. So me, biggest loser, obviously. Terrible week again, but it is what it is. Another big win. Even though you're losing a person every single week, Luke, you find a way to score over 110 points. Congratulations. Big win against Eddie, another what I consider top-tier team in our league. which brings me to my biggest loss. Unfortunately, Eddie, another tough loss. Your team's producing, just unfortunately, you're having tough matchups. Um, if you had a better schedule, I could easily see you being 3-0. But unfortunately, that's not the way fantasy football always works. So there you are at 1-2 going into tomorrow. You'll officially be 1-2. So big loss this week, but your team's been doing good, so I wouldn't stress too much. I'm going to jump into power rankings. Like I said, I'm going to try to wrap this up in 20 minutes. I'm going to start with number one and then move on to the last place. Obviously, number one, I'm going to stick with Mr. Organic. Until week 7, you will be number one. I don't care if your whole team gets AIDS. You're number one until week 7. Then I'll at least put you at 2. But going to stay at number one. I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see here. Dre, look at this team. Freaking crazy. Justin Herbert went off. I don't think even had Zach Ertz put up almost a goose egg and you scored, what are you at? 172. Absolutely insane. Who do you still have playing? Oh, Joe Mixon. Yeah, he scored a touchdown. Amari Cooper, big game from him. Justin Herbert, big game from him. Kenneth Walker and Raheem Mostert. Again, I was right with Raheem Mostert. Told you he was a steal. And that's the crazy thing is he's your number 4 running back, and you still produce. And another crazy thing, you have Austin Eckler here on your bench, and we all know that he would produce more than Joe Mixon, and yet you still scored 172. Absolutely crazy. Little side rant because we're here. When you have someone, this is a note for everybody. A lot of you are guilty for it. I don't know if you guys just don't care or you don't know, but when you have a player that's out, a little Colby tip of the week, when you have a player that's out, you can move them to your IR. So move Ayuk, move Eckler to both of them to your IR, and then what you could do is you can then pick up a few guys off the waiver that you might like or you think that might break out this next week. Either use them as trade bait, although no one trades, or every trade gets vetoed. Use them as trade bait, or even just keep them if you like him better than someone else, like Najee Harris, who's absolute trash. Get rid of Najee, keep the guy that you picked up. And if you don't like him, just send him right back to the waiver wire. There's unlimited pickups, so why not take advantage? I don't know why you guys don't do it, but it's out there. That's an option. Boom. Out IR. Pick up a couple people. Tank Dell, I think he's on the IR. A few. If you've got someone coming up on a bye week, that's a good chance or a good opportunity to load up on some positions that need to be filled. You could be looking at tight ends here. Just a little helpful tip. I don't know if you guys will use it, but that's that. Number 2, your team is not my favorite, but I got to give respect where respect is due. You're losing a person every single week. Like I said, you're still producing. You produced over 110 points this week after losing Nick Chubb and J.K. Dobbins and now Mike Williams. I know you didn't play Mike Williams, but still, it's absolutely crazy that you're finding players that are producing. Sam Laporta might be next to – we'll see how Nakua does, but next to him and maybe Kyron Williams or even Zach Moss. I would say with it being such a hard position, I would say Sam Laporta right now, pickup of the year. In a hard position, you found someone to pick up and who is producing. Let's look at his 6.3. That's not bad for a tight end in a standard league. Even 3.9 is better than most. It's better than I think my tight ends are doing, and I drafted a little bit higher than I probably would have wanted to now looking back on it. So hats off to you. I would say your ability to be a good manager is outweighing the ability of other people's drafting skills or hits on late picks in the draft or even their pickups. So hats off to you. Good shit. Keep it up, Luke. Hate to see you absolutely killing us again, but you know what? You're doing it. So you're doing it. Next, I've got up is Nate. And this is, I honestly believe these top three, you guys are in kind of, right now, you guys are in a tier of your own. You're tier one is what I'm going to call you guys. Tier one, where you guys are just kind of, your team is above the rest of ours in terms of talent and opportunity and consistency. And so, speaking of that, or just diving more into that, Nate, I think you've got a really solid team. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a steel toe cleat, and the guy still put up over 10 points. That's crazy. Devontae Smith did not have a good game, but he's still a dog. Christian McCaffrey had a really good game. Breece Hall, I wouldn't stress too much. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. I've heard rumors of Kirk Cousins now that they're 0-3, and this is a contract year for him, them moving on from him, and I could see the Jets being a team to pick them up. If that happens, takes a lot of stress off of the run game and gets Breece Hall in there to produce a little bit more. And then Pat Freiermuth, the Muth is Luth, absolutely killed it this week with a touchdown, and that's always really helpful. If you can keep producing, you've got a really scary team. And then you even have depth with Tua. I'm not sure on Cam Akers. We'll see as the weeks go on. I don't think you have the best. I'm not confident some of your moves. Getting rid of Deontay Johnson, another reason he was going to IR. You could have moved him to IR, kept your bench spot. Sometimes, come on. I think Tornado Nate's taken over a little too much, but that's why I've got you at 3. And then number 4, that's why I did struggle with kind of my 4 through 6. I think you guys are, again, I wouldn't even put 4 through 7 in the next tier. But, Jeff, I think you've got a really good team. Kirk Cousins has been producing. Devontae Adams proves it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. Jordan Addison, I think he's a dog. And as the weeks go on and he gains more experience, he'll be better and better. Bijan, absolute workhorse, and he looked really good. I mean, he put up the best looking 6 points. He was dodging and breaking tackles the whole day, so I wouldn't worry. But you're limited when you're putting Tyler Algier as your second running back. You got to find yourself another running back. You can't be. You're limiting your upside. Think this is some Saquon trading level thinking right here. So you need to step it up. You need to find yourself another running back. Go get A-Chain or something. Darren Waller, I think they'll start producing a little bit more of Darren Waller as their offense gets a little bit more used to each other. And then Mike Evans, doesn't matter who's at quarterback, he's producing. So go find yourself a running back. But for now, I do like your team, but can't put you above 4 if you keep on putting those two in at running back together. You're limiting your upside. Playing a little too safe, in my opinion, but I'm 0-3, so what do I know? Moving on to number 5, I've got Eddie. Not a big fan of your new quarterback, but I think as soon as Anthony Richardson gets back, again, move his ass to the IR. Move his ass to IR. Move one of them to the IR. Pick up another quarterback in case Anthony Richardson doesn't produce. I don't know. Puka Nacua. I guess he's not doing very good this tonight, but I do like Jacoby Myers. Looks like his career is getting rebuilt in Las Vegas. He actually looks really good. I think he did get bailed out a little bit by some lucky touchdown. Not lucky, but just did get bailed out by some touchdowns. DJ Moore, Dameon Pierce, you got bailed out with them on their touchdowns. James Cook looks really good. Garrett Wilson, I think you're just limited on your upside with Zach Wilson as your quarterback. But Tyreek Hill, he's an absolute dog. That offense is freaking relentless. And then with Jonathan Taylor coming back, that should be good. And I honestly think JSN will get more and more put into the offense as time goes on. I haven't had a really good opportunity to watch them too much this year, which makes me a little sad, but I think you've got a really good team. Just some injuries have kind of, I think, put a cap on your ceiling. So we'll see as the weeks go on if there's any moves. But moving on to number 6, Whitney. Some bad luck here. I think Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know why they're not giving him the rock a little bit more. T. Higgins did not have a very good week, very good night. It looks like game's not over, but he looks like he dropped a few. That Dallas offense, I'm not sold on them besides Tony Pollard. We've got CeeDee Lamb, who I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of their passing offense. Let's put it that way. But I think Trevor Lawrence will turn it around, and I'm not a big fan of any Kansas City running back. You've got a committee there. Yes, he got a touchdown, but it was against the terrible Bears defense. And then Travis Kelce looked like he was back this week. So that was kind of cool to see fantasy-wise. And then Miles Sanders, he's going to produce. So I think your team's pretty decent. Just some things have to fall the right way in order for you to kind of have that higher upside. And so that's why I've got you at 6. I do like your team, but I think there's some limit there. And moving on to number 7, the biggest jump, I believe, this week. Got to eat some crow here. Austin, been giving you a lot of shit lately. Lamar Jackson looked like he had those 2 rushing touchdowns. He definitely looks like he's back as a rusher. His passing does not look the best, but if he's rushing, he's going to be producing. Justin Jefferson, absolute dog. He's one of my favorites. Deebo Samuel will produce without Ayuk. Josh Jacobs didn't look very good. ETN's been a solid 12 points a week. George Kittle looked like he was involved a little bit more, but that was against the Giants, so we'll see if that keeps up. I put a little bit more disrespect on Zach Moss than I probably should have. Sometimes I just got to face the reality. It's not always about talent, and it's sometimes about opportunity. There's no one else in the backfield. Why would he not produce? So put a little disrespect on Zach Moss's name. He definitely did produce, and he balled out. So good pickup there. And see, look, boom, I do like this pickup of Deontay Johnson. You're not wasting a bench spot. And if he comes back and starts producing, you've got yourself another wide receiver where Jerry Jeudy has not been really producing. Terry McLaurin, that offense could be up and down. You get Alvin Kamara back this next week. So your team is kind of coming together a little bit more than I was giving it respect. Team's not trash. I do like your team, but we'll see. I think you've had some things that fallen into place. Lamar Jackson with his running, it always scares me. He's not the biggest dude. He's not like a Josh Allen where it looks like his body can take that many hits. And then Justin Jefferson I think there's rumors out there of Kirk Cousins possibly getting traded after they started 0-3. That could be really bad for him. With Ayuk coming back, what does that do for Deebo? Josh Jacobs has not been looking good. And then is Alvin Kamara going to come back and then just straight produce? I don't think so. And then when Jonathan Taylor comes back, is Zach Moss going to be producing? Probably not. So I think there's some. I don't want to put you too high, but I definitely did have to take you up a few notches. Moving on but I believe you guys are in tier 2, and then where you guys if you guys have some things fall in place, I think you definitely could be looking a lot better as the weeks go on. But I think there does have to be some things that have to fall in place first. So we'll see on that. Next up, Eric, I'm not sure on your team. I think you got lucky being paired up against me week 1 because my team has not done good at all. You squeaked by that one. You had a good week last week, and then your team shit the bed again. I do understand you not starting James Conner against Dallas, but I would start him no matter what. He has been producing. Nico Collins, I think it's going to go back and forth between him and Tank Dell. And then I think Damian Pierce is going to get a little bit more involved. I have nothing to back that up, but that guy's talented. They have to use him in some way. And the Kyron Williams against the Cincinnati has not produced so far tonight, and we're almost done with the game. So I don't know. I don't see him being that workhorse that you're expecting. And Derrick Henry's just old. I've never been a big fan. I've been wrong a lot against Derrick Henry, but it's just like the stock market. Eventually, the bears are right. He's getting old, and he is getting to that point where he is not. He had 11 attempts for 20 yards. Yes, that was against Cleveland, but I don't know. I just don't see him producing high numbers at the end of the year when you want him to produce. And then I don't know. You had Jordan Love outproduce Jalen Hurts. I do like Jalen Hurts, but he doesn't seem to be. He seems to just be that safe bet, not the person where you spent the draft capital. He doesn't seem to be quite that guy. And that's coming from a guy that owns Joe Burrow. So take it for what you want. And TJ Hawkinson, again, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Kirk Cousins. I think they're going to move on from him. Why wouldn't they? But I've got nothing to back that up. So I don't know. Your team is just, I feel like there's just some uncertainty. I think that's the last tier is there's just uncertainty on these tiers. So got you at number 8. Number 9, Dre, I've got you at number 9. And I think that's just based off of injuries. And again, out. Put these motherfuckers to the IR and start picking up some people. Worst case scenario, you just drop them the next week. Best case scenario, you find a gold mine sitting in the waivers. So just my 2 cents. But tough having that sit on your bench. That is really tough. But with your starting lineup, that is not a good team. It looks like you just, besides 3 picks, it looks like you've just been living off the waiver wire. But I think you definitely have some upside when these guys come back healthy. I think Aaron Jones is coming back, Jalen Waddle, but you'll be out with Saquon Barkley for a few more weeks. But I definitely think your team has potential. And with A-Chain, I think he's going to be limited as long as Mostert is there. Unfortunately, I hope it doesn't happen just because I never want to hope any kind of injury on anyone. But if something does happen to Mostert, which he doesn't have the best track record, A-Chain could be a league winner, especially with your other Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Waddle paired up with A.J. Brown and a safe Jared Goff and Zay Flowers, him producing more and more. I think you have a potential to have a really good team, unfortunately, with injuries right now. And I think you need a lot to happen in your favor for things to really go your way. Starting 0-3 does really suck, and it's hard to come back. Speaking of 0-3, we're moving on to number 10. All right, guys. Number 10, Glue Sniffer. I'm putting Glue Sniffer at number 10 because this guy, this annoying mofo, is probably sitting there laughing. He would be sitting there laughing his ass off if he saw me at 0-3. I know we had a little bit of a rivalry, him and I. Oh my God, he would be loving it right now. And there's no way, I can't even put myself in the top 10 because I have been doing absolutely awful. My team is just in shambles right now. Joe Burrow looks like shit, but Glue Sniffer could be picking up people off the waiver wire and be producing more points than I. Anyone could be off the waiver wire producing more points than I am. That is how bad my team is doing right now. Absolutely terrible. So number 10 is Glue Sniffer. I'm making the first ever debut of number 11. I'm outside the top 10. I'm putting myself at 11. Team is doing absolutely terrible. I've barely cracked 80. I have not even sniffed 90. And I think I've got some upside. I've got Cooper Kupp coming back. I've kind of got the understanding that Swift is going to be a producing RB1 even if Gainwell's there, which makes me happy. I think Brian Robinson, they absolutely terrible game script, and he was going up against a team that was way more superior. And terrible game script. He still rushed 10 times for 70 yards and had a few red zone opportunities. So I am psyched about that. But Javonte Williams not getting the opportunity. P. Ryan is the absolute worst when it comes to the Mr. Handcuff. He destroys RB1s. He destroyed Mixon for I don't know how many years, and now he's destroying Javonte Williams. That's frustrating. And I've got Ramondre Stevenson behind the worst offensive line in the NFL, I would say. Zeke scored more points than Ramondre Stevenson. Ezekiel Elliott, who is old as dirt. Joe Burrow's not looking good. I thought I had a sneaky play with Justin Fields. I was like, oh, this guy's just going to say fuck it and run and run and run and produce some points. Boy, was I wrong. CJ Stroud scored more than him. So that was a terrible call. I'm just not making the right calls on people I pick up, people I'm playing. It's been a frustrating first 3 weeks. I've got optimism, but it's dwindling. It is dwindling. I'm a broken man right now. It's tough, but I think I'm going to come back, and I'm so confident that I'm going to come back. I'm going to win this next week with Mr. Oh, I've got Alvin Kamara coming back. Oh. So, I got a little proposition for you, Austin. Maybe we can work out a deal. We'll do a little bet this week. I'm asking everyone a favor. I want all of you guys to come up with a plan or something. Not a plan, but come up with a bet that Austin has to do if he loses. In return, Austin, and I'll let you agree to it. Austin, if you win, I will wear this for my week 5 podcast. That's how confident I am. That's how much I know I'm going to beat you. So, Austin, take a bet. If you got the balls, I'll wear this next week if you win. But if I win, we'll figure that out. I want it to be something that you agree on. But, yeah, tell me your thoughts. Hope you guys all enjoyed. I'll release another video. I've got some ideas. But for now, guys, thanks for listening. Hope you guys all have a good night. And good luck to everyone besides Austin this next week. Cheers.